All right, welcome to Dual Redundancy, the only podcast where you can hear all the latest in television and entertainment news with too many hosts with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is
John Berwick, and a third one is
Kyle Bridger. I will say that I am the Tony Hawk to John's Kelly Slater to Dave's Flying Tomato, Shaun White.
Yes, I completely
the host
agree.
that everyone remembers.
Yes, when I think movies, I think of Tony Hawk, Shaun White, Kelly Slater. That's the three people I think of. You know, it's like maybe one of them will be Bond. They were introing Bond in the Oscars. Maybe Shaun White will be the next James Bond. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Oscars. That is for sure. We got a lot to talk about with the Oscars. We're going to recap everything that happened last night at the 94th Academy Awards. Plus, we have a brand new show on HBO Max, plus some quick checks, plus some other things we may or may not have time for. So much to do. We can't joke around. John, I know the first segment this week because it is the Oscars.
I think you're looking at an Academy Award nomination also. Did he just say what I thought he said?
What?
Yes, Victor.
Oscars. I smell Oscars.
You see what a little buzz can do in this town?
I predicted it. I said this is the one. This is the vehicle.
Morley, you told me not to do it.
Yes, the 94th Academy Awards last night, March 27th on ABC. A lot to talk about. We'll get to it. Let's start off with some other things first, okay? Going into the night, The Power of the Dog led with 12 nominations, followed by Dune with 10, and Belfast and West Side Story both had 7. It was a way different story when the awards were handed out. Dune ended up leading with 6 wins. They're in the below-the-line categories. Coda was next with 3. They actually went 4-3 to be specific. And then it was The Eyes of Tammy Faye that was third with 2 wins.
Wow.
So we're going to break down all these awards first. What do you think about just overall those stats I said, Kyle? Dune, Coda, Eyes of Tammy Faye, those were the 3 films that got multiple wins. Anything that was missing? Anything you were surprised about? Is this what we thought?
I mean, we thought Dune would kind of clean out the below the line stuff, right? So that's not really a surprise to me. I mean, I think it was a great film in all those categories. It should win, you know. But so that's not a surprise. Coda going 3 for 3 is pretty sweet, especially if you like the film. But yeah, we talked about that being a possible option with the guys from the other podcast. But the Tammy Faye one, I mean, I guess it is a little surprising.
Yeah, I mean,
it's more than
when you look at the 2 at 1 with, it's like, okay, that makes sense. The hair and makeup, and we predicted that, yeah. And for just
when you're looking at the totals, it's just like, wait, what?
Especially because there's so many other films that had like 10, 11, 12 nominations.
And
then it's like, oh, this film that had barely any nominations did really well. Like Coda, 3 for 3. Like that's, you know, a great batting average.
Great, it's perfect.
Yeah, that's true. A grand slam. Now I remember wealth like kind of being shared in past ceremonies. Like, you know, in the past, I feel like in the last few years, things would be spread out a little bit. Everything would get a little bit of something. Like the 91st ceremony, I looked it up. That was the year of like The Favorite, Bohemian Rhapsody, all that. Everything, all the best picture nominees won something. They got at least one award somewhere along the line. Not this year. I mean, Dune swept the technical categories as we all thought. But then it's like there were some best picture nominees that went home empty-handed. Don't Look Up, Nightmare Alley, Licorice Pizza, Goose Egg. And then there's a lot of other films that, you know, weren't nominated, whether it was Tick, Tick, Boom or Being the Ricardos, that weren't in the best picture slot. Also, multiple nominations, 0 wins. So yeah, it was like a couple of films did really well. And then the rest kind of went home with nothing.
Yeah. I mean, well, we were talking about some of those films. It's like, should they even be in the best picture category, like Nightmare Alley, you know? And you weren't particularly high on Being the Ricardos. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, we'll get to the ceremony, but I did like the joke because I had the exact same. That's my Letterbox review. Amy Schumer said, "Pretty brave of Aaron Sorkin to do a movie about the funniest woman, in comedy, and not have one single joke in the film." That was a pretty brave choice.
Yeah.
One film that almost went home empty-handed was The Power of the Dog. 12 nominations, just one win. This is the first film since 1967's The Graduate to just win Best Director.
Wow.
That is pretty wild, where the only award the film got was Best Director.
Yeah.
Again, we all knew it going in, but when you actually think about it, that's wild.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
And
because no, just like the other categories, it's like, well, if she's the best director, you got to imagine somewhere along the line, that they're going to get an award. But I don't know, it's tough.
The best director doesn't make the best anything else. Like, it just seems weird.
And then vice versa,
with
the Dune,
with Dune,
the Dune director doesn't get nominated. So I don't know, just a weird coincidence, I guess.
Yeah, it's just another loss for Netflix. They're spending so much money on these films and this talent and the promotion, and it always, the last 3 or 4 years, they lead in nomination, but they never lead in wins, and they never get Best Picture. I mean, last year, Mank, 2 for 10. The year before that, 0 for 10 for The Irishman. And the year before that, Roma, 3 for 10. It's just, and then you look at Apple TV Plus, they get to say, we were the first streaming service to get Best Picture. They spent a whole lot less. They acquired this film for, I think it was like 25 million at a film festival. I'm sure they did a lot of promotion for it, a lot of for your consideration marketing, but there's nowhere probably close to what the Netflix spent on their Oscar campaign for Power of the Dog and Tick Tick Boom and Don't Look Up and all these films.
Yeah, I just wonder if they started they just started out too early and weren't able to keep the momentum, and Coda seemed to be picking up steam late. But you know what I was thinking when you were saying all those titles is those are pretty traditional, like Oscar-y films, and things like Coda, that's not necessarily like a traditionally Oscar film. It's pretty, I don't know, basic storytelling, nothing too crazy about it. You just have like a great couple of performers and a good script, and bang, there you go, So I don't know.
But speaking of all the money, a quick in and out point, I guess, here. Online veterinarian service POP announced before the show they would donate $10,000 to animal rescues every time the Power of the Dog was verbally mentioned, up to $1 million in donations. The CEO said, quote, "While Power of the Dog has nothing to do with dogs, POP is thrilled that it's the most nominated film, guaranteeing pups in need will be this year's true winners." It's true. After watching Power of the Dog, not much dog in Power of the Dog. But this was good. And it's probably sad because with it not being a big player of the night, maybe not that many donations for the Power of the Dog. Maybe it was, I guess, does it count every time it's nominated? Like when they say, and the nominees are.
I mean, I gotta imagine that counts.
Yeah. I did look up today, like, what's the final tally? Let me see what they say. What's the news story? For some reason, I can't find anything. Maybe it's buried under some other stuff, and maybe the Oscar people have other things to write about. I don't know, but I can't find anything about this donation total yet. But I'll let you know what
Is this like a Michael Scott event here going on?
Yeah.
They're just gonna
the fun run for the cure. Yeah. I mean, we're talking so much Power of the Dog. We failed to really give Coda its due here. That was the Best Picture winner, 3 for 3. I think, I mean, we predicted it, but like I knew for sure where the tide was going in the night once we hit adapted screenplay, because I thought, okay, well, it was up against Power of the Dog there. And in that category, it's a regular ballot. It's a regular which one do you like better? You know, A, B, C, or D. And if it could win against Power of the Dog in that, it should easily beat it in a preferential ballot, which is what Best Picture is, because of what we've talked about. One's more feel good, universally liked, while the other one is, you know, some people love it, some people hate it. It's a divisive film. So, yeah, once I saw the adapted screenplay, I knew it was going that way. But yeah, how do you think Coda is gonna be remembered? Will it be remembered after the ceremony of what everything that went down during the telecast? But 10 years from now, are we gonna look back on Coda?
Yeah, the reason why I say yes and the reason why I think it'll live on is because like you can pop this on like cable. This could be a cable movie. This could be a cable staple. Even though I know it's on Apple TV Plus, but like this is a movie that is like that where everyone can really get into it. It's like you said, universally liked. So I think I think it's just a heartfelt film that everyone can enjoy. So I see it sticking around. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be like in this top, 25 Oscar films, any of that, but I think it's a very, very good movie and that a lot of people can enjoy. So what's wrong with that,
Yeah, John, I know you saw The Power of the Dog. Have you seen Coda yet?
No, not yet. On my list.
All right, on your list. Yeah, look at these some of these stats that it demolished. No film since 1932's Grand Hotel has won Best Picture with fewer than 4 nominations. It had 3 nominations, so it even beat that. It's the 6th film to win Best Picture without a director's nom. And then in the last 41 years, aside from Birdman, which it's its own special thing, no film won Best Picture without that editing nomination I always talk about being so important. Obviously, Birdman was very special circumstances with that film. But yeah, it's been a long time. Those are some stats that are now demolished because of Coda's win. But, speaking of our stats and our predictions here, this is the best I think we ever did. This is the best we ever did.
Really?
We got everything right. I mean,
well,
okay, we got 37 out of 38 possible points. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
That 1 point was for that original screenplay. We did the dark horse there for Belfast. Licorice Pizza was our will win. And I remember that morning, Kyle, I was like, do we switch? The WGA gave it to Don't Look Up, which and it was just like, okay, relax. If it wins, we'll at least get a point. We won't be. So it's just like, all right, this is the safer bet. Just go into that. Don't change anything last minute. We should have, but at the end of the day, we got our 37, out of 38. Yeah. That's a pretty good score.
That's wild. And they still lost.
Yeah. So
but it came down to that one category, but yeah. Oh, yeah. Man.
So as you said, we did the good and the bad watchable predictions last week, and we matched in every single category, minus the 2 dark horses in acting, but they didn't really matter because they were the people that were, the dark horse or the will wins were locks and they won. The dark horse didn't matter there. The only category we differed in was the one I kind of offhandedly joked during the podcast that it would come down to best original song. And it really did come down to best original song. They picked the song from Encanto. We went in on No Time to Die. And it was No Time to Die.
Yeah.
So sorry, guys. 5 years in a row.
Oh, yeah. And you never bet against Bond. I mean, that song is so old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely had time to die between its release. But years ago, I think it might have been with you, Kyle. We did a bet just between us, and I think I lost because of Sam Smith.
Yeah.
Sam Smith's Bond song. And ever since then, I'm like, I'm never going against Bond. Bond is, you got to go with it. And it
you
worked.
Learned your lesson.
Yeah.
You learned your lesson.
I think though, because they chose the original song choices like months ago before they knew. If Encanto knew what it did about Bruno, I think if they went in on that song, I think it had a much better chance.
Yes. Yeah. That is true.
They they chose wrong, it looks like, and it paid off for us. I can't wait to hear their review. We kind of jokingly said it should be Dear Evan Hansen, and I think I'm okay with that. I think that could be a good one. The Razzie, I think award-winning or at least nominated film, Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah, I think it was
Another
nominated.
musical with songs, and they can really find the best original song in that. But
Get into the groove.
yeah. Well, we mentioned Bond, and Bond had a very special 60th anniversary moment during the ceremony. And since that is the biggest story anyone's talking about from the ceremony and the telecast, let's now move over and talk about the telecast. And I, just for the heck of it, I want to kind of go in somewhat of an order with the telecast, just because there's a reason when we get to the moment of why we're going in order and what that meant for the telecast. But let's start off at the top. We got Beyonce, the opening number there, and then we get our three hosts. But then DJ Khaled interrupts.
Yeah,
and already I was like, "Oh God,
oh no!"
1 minute in, and what are we doing?
Was it a planned interruption?
Yeah, it was a planned interruption.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't get a chance to see it yet, so I could totally see him just run out on stage and be like DJ Khaled and just like doing something.
The way they did it was like, the announcer was like, "And your host for the Oscars," and then it like literally cut and it said DJ Khaled, and I'm like, no, host. And of course, like, he interrupts and he's like, "Oh, I got to give a better introduction to our three actual hosts," which you could see there in the Twitch stream. And we get this group monologue with our three hosts, and then we also get a solo monologue. Kyle, what did you think of the choice to have Regina Hall, Wanda Sykes, Amy Schumer do their one opening, and then we immediately do another opening after that? I thought we were saving time.
They wanted more bits, dude. They want to get the P. That's why we chopped everyone's speech, so we could get more bits in, dude.
Yeah. Well, see, the ceremony just going into the night was put in such a bad spot because the entire night people are going to judge. You cut categories for that, like every single bit they were going to do, every joke that they were going to do. It was like already being judged before they even did it because of all the stuff going into the night.
Yeah, I just felt bad, honestly. I just felt bad for Regina Hall. Like, I said this to you earlier, but they were only just giving her like the single lady just wanted to get down. I'm like, is this the only thing? She's like a very funny actress. There's got to be something else you can do here.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and to me, I will say, actually, I liked the second monologue with Amy Schumer. I was actually surprised there were some good jokes there. I thought like throughout the night they were a little bit more Golden Globes type jokes than the normal like Oscar-y like safe jokes. But I will say, like, the whole night, the stuff they did with the stars, it just felt so desperate. Like, after the first monologue with the three of them, we got a list of all the starring celebrities. It's like, coming up, appearances by blank, 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 blank.
I know.
Oh my God, are you really that worried that like people are going to tune out within the first 5 minutes, and then you tell them, "Oh wait, hang on, Shaun White's coming. Okay, I'll stick around. I'll stick around." But I don't know. It just felt very desperate with the opening there. I mentioned Shaun White. We get Tony Hawk, Kelly Slater, Shaun White. They intro a retrospective 60 years of Bond, James Bond. Okay.
Cool.
Why? Why them? Why?
Dude, I don't know. Just because those are all action dudes?
I guess. Like, you could kind of see like the seeds of all these ideas they had throughout the night. But then you actually like stop and think about it, and you're like, well, wait a minute. Like the clip package was a very cool edit. It was a very cool package. But then it was like, that's it? That's your celebration of Bond?
Yeah.
Like, it was just this 2-minute thing that you could find on YouTube. It's like, did no living Bond actors show up?
Come say hello, or
Daniel Craig, Pierce Brosnan, are you guys in town? I mean, Rami Malek and Judi Dench are in the building. Have them come up at a certain point. Like, because also, why don't you? This is I think, producing 101 thing. After that 60-year anniversary Bond thing, intro Billie Eilish with the song No Time to Die.
Oh,
yeah.
Make it a special Bond segment instead of
Yeah.
there's a little thing here and a little thing there. And it's just, do it all together.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe
Uh.
there was something that prevented that from happening. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, I just thought like, okay, we're 60 years of Bond. That's a number, you know, that's an anniversary number. Then the other anniversaries we had, they were odd. 15 years of Juno, 28 years of Pulp Fiction.
What? What, 28?
28. Yeah, you don't celebrate your 28th anniversary.
Well, maybe it was to make up for those like awards that were voted on by Twitter, where people were like, "What is this manic mess that you're showing us?"
Yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, they're just like some wild choices of just it's been 12 years, 6 months, and 4 days since this movie. It's like, oh, well, let's celebrate it. Why not? I just think like everything with the Oscars every year, I'm a broken record. It just feels thrown together. And it's something where it's like, it feels like they waited till the night before and like, oh crap, we got to come up with some segments. And it's like, you have all year to plan. Start planning now, today, for next year's ceremony. Lock in a host, in like 2 months and try to get them, working so people can get excited. Like, I don't get it. Cause like all the bits to me, I just like,
well, are they that bad or that like tame because they don't want to go too hard against,
I don't know, because I feel like
celebs, or I don't know.
I feel like sometimes though, like they, like they got political in the cold open, the first monologue. They're okay with some things, but then they don't go all in other things.
That's safe in that
is
environment.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like that the COVID test results bit. It was like before it even started, I'm like, this is the premise. I know the premise before it's even done. It's like, oh, yep, it is. And then the Oscar Museum pre-tape with Wanda Sykes, and I thought this was an odd choice because obviously it's a comedic bit and she's doing well in it, but if I was the Oscars, if I was the Academy, is this good advertising to have someone go into all of our exhibits and make fun of them? Like, I don't know. Is that like, because I would go to an Oscars museum, but then if I get, it's like, oh, what is this thing? Oh, this is like making a joke about this or that prop. Oh, this is what you have. Oh, these TVs from Best Buy. It's just like they spent hundreds of millions of dollars on this. And you're just like, oh, this is junk.
I just thought it was interesting the films they chose. Like they chose that one with the one that we have the
Shape of Water.
Yeah, Shape of Water, which is like,
okay,
it was it that popular? Like, why is it that? I don't know.
I think it was solely for that Aquaman joke. But the Academy was trying to advertise, their themselves. Same with Disney Synergy tonight, man. So many. I don't know if you watched the commercials, Kyle. So many commercials for Hulu, FX. I saw every show under the sun that they have coming up. But man, there was points where like Troy Kotzer, who had a moving speech, a great speech for his win for Coda. Immediately after that, we get this Chris Evans pre-tape. He's like, congratulations to Troy. Movies. Yeah, they're powerful stuff. And here's a look at my new film, Lightyear. It's just, okay, I guess.
Great, thanks.
We gotta get this trailer in.
Yeah.
And then we get the not only did we get the nominated song from Encanto, but we also got the first live performance of We Don't Talk About Bruno.
It was like a remix version.
Version. Which is also a choice because I'm going to be honest. This is the first time I've ever heard this song. And I got to be like, that's it. That's the most popular song ever.
I think it was like a remix version because it didn't.
I think it is.
Yeah, it's like a little bit. It was a little bit different. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just where it is in the movie that hits people. I don't know, or maybe it's like the catchiest one. I don't know.
Well, what I saw on Twitter is supposedly the viral parts of the song that are on TikTok that are being sampled weren't in this version, and it's just an odd choice because it's like, okay, you love this song, we're gonna perform this song. Well, we took out all the parts that you recognize and love, and we rewrote it to be about the Oscars. Like I'm watching it, and there's multiple points where they mention the Oscars, and I'm like, is this in the real song? Because that's just would be odd. Like they're talking about it's Oscar's biggest night, and I'm like, what does this have to do with this movie? But and then you have to think about, okay, who is this song for? I mean, obviously Encanto is the biggest hit with families and with kids. Why did they perform it at 10 p.m. on a Sunday night? Shouldn't this been maybe like 8:30? I don't know, man. Should it start with this opening? I don't know. It's just odd, I think, to me, where it's just like, all right, the kids are gonna love this Bruno song, so we'll wait till they're in bed.
But are kids even watching the Oscars? I don't even know, dude. So
well, I think then it's like, who's this song for then? Like,
I mean, the parents are gonna know,
I guess. But are they like sick of the song because they've probably heard it on repeat for the last 6 months?
No. So you put it later in the night so that you get more eyes on it for longer, and your ratings go up. Those Nelson ratings, more people watching, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Nielsen?
The Nielsen,
Nielsen,
but
that's the one.
We'll get to the ratings and it's what maybe happened with a spike at a certain point. But the best part for me of this entire ceremony was the Oscar fan favorite Twitter awards. You knew the only reason these awards existed was for Spider-Man No Way Home to be recognized, for Disney and ABC to give that film its due. Even though to quote Don Draper, that's what the money is for. But anyways, we did a fan vote, and let's see how everyone did. The fan favorite film, I'll say the 5 films from 5 to 1. Number 5, Tick Tick Boom. Number 4, Spider-Man No Way Home. 3, Minamata. Number 2, Cinderella. And number 1, Army of the Dead.
I can't use my gift.
Yeah, you can't use it. Sorry, John. It got number 2 on the list. If it was 1, I would allow it. But this is it again. They made this award for Spider-Man to win in a Johnny Depp film that nobody saw. Got 3rd. Cinderella, which people panned, got 2, and then some. Yeah, Netflix Army of the Dead movie. You know, Zack Snyder, it won. And I just think that's perfect. Like, this is, what did you expect? You asked Twitter for their votes, and this is what you get.
Yeah. You're talking about a small sample size in Twitter. Yeah. And then you're just going to get like the same people again and again and again and again and voting, you know?
I loved it. And
so ridiculous.
And I love the reactions to the Oscars cheer moment. Again, I still don't understand what this is because unlike the fan favorite film, those films are from this year. That makes sense. What was your favorite film this year? Okay. The Oscars cheer moment, I guess, was every film that could ever be existed. Like it's so what are the 5 best moments in cinematic history? Number 5, Neo dodges the bullets in The Matrix. Okay. Number 4, the performance in Dreamgirls. Okay. Number 3, Avengers Assemble. Number 2, Spider-Man No Way Home team up. Again, didn't get number 1. What's the best moment in cinematic history? The one we all remember. Obviously, it's from Zack Snyder's Justice League when the Flash enters Speed Force.
Oh yeah.
We all remember where we were when he entered Speed Force.
I didn't even know that the Flash entered Speed Force.
How could you not know? It was
I
the
know.
biggest.
I'm sorry.
That was the moment the world cheered.
I know. I'm sorry I missed that day. Oh,
Again,
man.
And it's just wild because, like, again, out of all of history, how are these the top 5 moments?
Yeah.
Some of these moments are definitely in the top 10, maybe top 20, but top 5, these are the ones.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand it.
I mean, it was all a big stupid joke anyways. And I'm glad people treated it as such, you know?
I'm so glad that this is how it worked out, and maybe they'll take pause when they try to do this next year. But yeah, it was like wild for a point when Zack Snyder had more, I guess, Oscars than Jane Campion in The Power of the Dog. But I will say, we're getting it was at 10:17 p.m. And the narrator, the announcer here mentioned we were about to enter our final hour, and I'm like, wait a minute, 10:17? How's that the final hour? Can I enter Speed Force? Can I get going here? Well, 10:30. They changed the stage layout and they replaced the band for like the second time for some reason. Every hour they kept doing that, and then it was around 10:30 when a comedian, Chris Rock, came up to present Best Documentary Feature.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Man, you hear it.
Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
All right. 5 years to the day. Well, I guess not to the day, but 5 years to the ceremony after the Envelope Gate, Moonlight, La La Land. We were like, could we ever have something that would top that as like the wildest, craziest moment in Oscar history? And I think we did. This is at first, like, just going through it as someone watching it live. I'll ask you, Kyle, what you thought in a second, but it was definitely, I thought it was a bit at first. He says the joke, it's hard to tell with the cutting, but it looked like, at least at first, Will laughed at the joke. And then I don't know, maybe he didn't fully hear it. Maybe he was being, good sport, polite. I don't know. But then once the audio went out, once it was dropped, I'm like, okay, maybe Chris Rock said something, caught off guard and they're being safe. But then we cut back to Will and we read his lips and I saw the anger and I'm like, okay, this is not a joke. This is real. And I think this was the moment for the ceremony. And this is the reason why I put it where I did in the show, because all that first part, I had my notes, I was going along with it. After this moment, the ceremony just went off the cliff and nobody could concentrate of what was going on.
Yeah, that's true.
At home, in the audience, the presenters, the producers, nothing mattered after this moment. And I think it just, because for me, well, I'll get to all that in a second, but Kyle, watching this live as well, what did you think, was going on?
Yeah, initially I thought it was a bit, and I kind of like looked away, and then like it dropped out, and then it came back just like you suggested, and it was just like and you saw his face, and then I even did a rewind because I was like, wait, what just happened? And then it looked like they tried to save it in the coverage and weren't able to do it. And then, and then you're right. Afterwards, I mean, I couldn't believe what I had just seen, because we're talking about a dude in a room with everyone that could ever give him a job, could possibly direct him, produce him, is in that room, dude.
Yeah.
He's in that room, which is crazy.
To me, it's just wild in the fact that he's arguably the famous, the most, I mean, he's definitely the most famous person in that room, but one of the most famous people, period. Like, it's just for 30 plus years that, you know, he is the face of Hollywood. And it was just a moment. And you could tell with Chris Rock where, you know, he has a performance. He's a comedian. He has like a character that he's kind of doing. As soon as this happens, it drops. You could tell it's a different person, and you could hear in the room just the tone shift, and you could hear probably a pin drop in that room.
Yeah.
And after this moment, he was presenting for Best Documentary Feature. Questlove wins, and he gave a great speech, but couldn't concentrate at all.
Yeah.
And so much of the show after that was just like, there's so much like I saw on Twitter after the fact explained to me, and it feels almost like a fever dream where, wait, P. Diddy came out to intro a Godfather reunion, and then wait, there was a dance break in the in memoriam, and wait, what's but nobody's talking about that because nobody's able to focus on any of that.
Yeah.
And then for the next 30 minutes, we all know at home, because he's the presumed winner.
Yeah.
He's going to make a speech.
This awkward. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That in between time. And then you realize that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was wild. It was just completely wild seeing this live. And there's been so many reports throughout the day. It's hard to even keep up, because something, you know, in the last hour, I'll read off in a second, has been updated. So we, you know, by the time you're listening to this, who knows what has changed with this story.
Yeah.
But CNN reported that the Academy strongly considered removing Will from the auditorium, but quote, the Academy's decision makers were seated in various spots and couldn't mobilize to make a decision before he won Best Actor.
Oh boy.
The Academy released a statement condemning Will's actions, and there's a formal review going on. And just like, you know, less than an hour ago, I saw Will Smith. He posted on Instagram a lengthy statement. I'll read part of it here, but he said, "Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line. I was wrong. I'm embarrassed, and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There's no place for violence in a world of love and kindness." And he also apologizes to the Academy and to the Williams family. But yeah, like, there's reports backstage that Denzel and Tyler Perry were comforting Will, and his publicist obviously was you know, coming to him probably to rework his speech. And but man, what a night of live television.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. That was why I could not believe that happened. I could not believe it, because honestly, I had to look up the reference to why he was so upset.
Yeah,
I didn't know, and so I don't know. Just a wild occurrence. But the fact that I was just thinking, everyone that Will Smith could ever work with is basically in that room. You know, all the deal makers are there. That's just a wild, crazy occurrence.
Yeah, and at this point, I ran out of notes. There's not much, you know, interest in the ceremony after this, and yeah, Coda won Best Picture. I don't know if it's going to be one of those things where it's like the Moonlight La La Land thing. Will we remember Coda winning, or is this going to be just the Will Smith Oscars? Like, and because every winner, I saw Questlove when he went backstage, he's being asked about this moment. He's not being asked about his win, and it's unfortunate, because all those winners are you know, being asked about this and not about their performance in the film and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But well, the night ended 11:39 p.m. and that's a wrap. I will say, man, I'm glad we cut those 8 categories to pre-tape them, man. 11:39. The longest ceremony since 2018. Almost 4 hours. And it's like, what are we? It's long every year.
Yeah.
Every single year it's long.
if we know it's gonna be like this, why don't we do something about it? I don't know.
Cut
Like,
some of the jokes.
Cut more stuff. And because Kyle, we did live rundowns in school. We did live productions on ICTV. We started live at 8. We were off the air at 8:20, 8:30 or whatever it was. They were awkward as hell sometimes trying to fit everything in, but we finished on time. We did it. Like, we didn't go 40 minutes late. Like, it's just wild. You would think, okay, man, it didn't work for the last 15 years. Maybe let's cut out the 3 monologues we did. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Something's got to be figured out, though.
Yeah, maybe knowing them, they'll take the wrong thing out of this. They'll cut even more of the tech categories. And, you know, I saw going into the weekend that there was like possible like talks of possible silent protests that the crafts people were going to do. And I don't know, like we didn't really see it, but then we also didn't see much of their speech because it was really poorly, oddly edited. And because like watching it, you know, they say the nominees and then they would say, and the Oscar goes to, but as they are saying that, the winner is being handed the Oscar. Yeah. So like they're playing it off like it's live, but clearly it's not. They tweeted out the results during a pre-show, but then they added in like celebrity reactions that didn't match. It's like, yeah, and the Oscar winner it's like, oh, it's Riz Ahmed. I'm seeing him get the award. So where's the suspense? Like I see him. I don't know. I just thought it was really weird.
It was odd. It was odd. It was.
What did it save? 4 minutes?
Yeah. The only good part about it is like it cut the time between them walking up to the stage. But besides that, that doesn't even save that much time in the scheme of things. If we're, you know, if we're already 15, 20 minutes over, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, one last thing I want to talk about is Ukraine. Who would have thought on the entertainment podcast we're going to be diving into world politics here? But the show presented a moment of silence before leading into a crypto ad, which was a choice.
Jeez,
that was a choice.
What the hell?
But will this be enough for Sean Penn? Because I'm not sure what came first with all this, but I remember seeing an article that Amy Schumer tried to feature the Ukraine president Zelensky at the ceremony in some way, but the producers rejected it. Well, then the day before, the actor spoke to CNN and pretty much gave the Oscars an ultimatum. Feature Zelensky on the program, or viewers and guests are going to should boycott the ceremony. And he released a lengthy statement, but I'm going to get to the main part here. He said, quote, I myself, if it comes back to it, when I return, I will smelt mine in public. I pray that's not what happens. And he's talking about his Oscar statue. So I don't know. Is he going now to melt his statue? Because we didn't see Zelensky on the show.
Yeah. I mean, let's see him do it. Put your money where your mouth is, buddy. Smelt his Oscars in public. Put your money where your mouth. I mean, is it worth it? Like, leave the guy alone. He's in a war zone. He's got other stuff to do, unless he wants to get the message out there. But he's doing a lot already by spreading the message, you know? So can we just let this guy be?
It's like 3 a.m. for him in the middle of a war. Like, you're really going to make him come, like, do a skit? Like, I don't know. That whole thing just seems...
He does a bit with...
that whole thing just seems so, like, out of touch, you know?
Let's talk about this. Let's say his little rendezvous was after the Will Smith event. Could you imagine that?
I mean, no.
My God.
I can't. It's just, like, it's one thing to get the message out, but if he doesn't have the time, which I don't know if he does, I don't think he does, let him do his thing. He has bigger fish to fry than the 94th Academy Awards,
Yeah.
and it's just sometimes
that whole storyline is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I can't believe it. I can't believe they were even thinking about having him. It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, how self-important do you have to be that? Oh, us, the movie makers, we really need a president of another foreign nation on. Are you crazy? Get out of here.
Wild. Well, I don't know. Would they have boosted ratings? We got the ratings in. They could only go up after last year's dismal 10.4, and they did. They rose 56%. They made it to 15.4 million. Sounds good, but it's actually still the second lowest ever. So still down from even 23.6 when Parasite won in 2020. So yeah, I had a feeling that they were going to go up anyways, just because of how weird last year's pandemic ceremony was. And this year's, I think the films are, more people could see them. They're on streaming and stuff like that. But the idea also, like, I think there was a tick up after 10:30, after, the incident with Will Smith. But like to see reports of it today, it's like, to correlate them too much is tough, because at 8:00, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, you can't retroactively watch something at 8:00 when you find out at 10:30 it's good.
Yeah.
So they were already in at 8:00 before that moment. So maybe it'll affect next year's ratings. I don't know, but it's still, it's a far cry from what it used to be.
Yeah.
But that is it. That's the Oscars. I have nothing else to say.
Wild one.
Next week,
just a
we
weird
will be
one.
predicting 95th. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, we got to start early.
We got to start early. Instead, we're going to talk about some TV next. Let's do some TV. Let's go back, guys.
Back in time. I'm back,
We're back, baby.
Gotta get back in time.
All right, Minx. The series premiere March 17th is when it dropped. There's been 2 a week so far on HBO Max. So 4 episodes total, mostly focusing on the premiere, but we've all seen different amounts of episodes. This comedy series is set in the 1970s, and it's about a young feminist in Los Angeles who joins forces with a low-rent publisher to create the first woman's erotic magazine. All right, John, start me off. Minx, what do you think?
Well, I saw only 1 episode, so I'm going to base my judgment off of that. But, yeah, it was interesting. It left me kind of not wanting more, but I'm not opposed to watching more. I think I'm gonna do a little bit more, but very interesting. Very. It feels like the period it's trying to portray.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's too modern. Not as far as like we had a couple weeks ago where they used like film stock and may have been grainy, but the set pieces all look appropriate. The people and their makeup and hair all look appropriate. I don't know. I thought it was good. Nothing.
Yeah, I
crazy.
agree with you with the kind of production design and the music. I almost think something with the color scheme as well. The colors feel like they fit into the world. Sometimes when you do these things, it's like, oh, the colors are too bright or too. I feel like everything like looks of the time and the same shades and palette. But Kyle, what did you think of the show?
Yeah, I thought great production design. It feels like we're in the the 70s. I think it's an interesting cast of characters. I think the sister to the main girl is a scene stealer. I like Jake Johnson's character. It's kind of an interesting premise. Look on the women's side of things. There's some things that kind of annoy me so far. I've seen about 3 episodes, so I'm kind of into it. But I'm digging the storyline. I'm digging the cast of characters so far.
Yeah, you mentioned the cast. I think, the 2 leads are strong. Ophelia Lovabon as Joyce and Jake Johnson's Doug. Both are strong leads. I, got a soft spot for Jake Johnson. I think he just oozes charm, even as this kind of sleazy, low rent, publisher. It's just, it feels perfect, like a perfect character actor
Yeah.
match with this character. I'm looking forward to seeing more from him and their relationship as co-workers there. But I will say one of the things I felt odd for me watching it was kind of like the pace of this first episode. Maybe it's just the pilot syndrome, but everything felt very fast. Everything felt like we're squeezing so much in that I'm like, wait a minute, could this have been a movie or even a short limited series? It's supposed to be an ongoing show with multiple seasons, but you got Jake Johnson, you meet him in the first 5 minutes, you get this offer from him about this magazine. Oh, she doesn't want it. She later accepts it. That we're casting for the centerfold. And then there's a fight between the two. And then they already reconcile. And then now she's open to the idea and she's pitching ideas. And it's like, whoa, you got multiple episodes. How much are we squeezing in just this one episode?
Yeah.
A lot of development with the characters. It's just, so it's moving fast. Hopefully they got enough material for the season and the series. But one thing I am glad that they kind of hopefully skipped over at least a little bit. You'll have to let me know, Kyle, in multiple episodes. I'm sure it's always going to be a factor throughout the series. But going into the thing, you already could feel the cliche of these like two philosophies at odds with each other. One wants to do it one way, one wants to do it the other way. And it was always going to be there, but at least cracked a little bit this episode because they were on completely polar ends. But now she's okay. She's leaning a little bit to that. She's open to the idea, which is helpful because I'm like, if it's going to be a full season of 0 and 180, I couldn't. It would be too much, I think. Have you seen it so far? Like, is it completely on two ends, or is there kind of some?
Yeah, I would say that's probably the most annoying part of the show, and the thing that I didn't like about it, or like how they just were so much in your face about how straight laced she was. I'm like, I get it. You don't need to keep showing me the 3 or 4 books that she brought about feminism. I understand what you're getting at because by this point we've already done 3 other scenes where you've shown me that. We don't need to keep going over this. And I feel like for the first few episodes, they continue to do that. And it's like, no, I got that. Can we start moving past it? So that's that is the small annoying part, but there's other things happening that make me interested in it. So,
yeah. I wonder the HBO Max co-worker Sam Levinson of Euphoria. I wonder what he thinks of it because he's probably mad that Minx is coming for his total crown in a certain department here.
Is it the penis crown?
Yeah, there was a lot. There was a montage, and man, there was a lot.
Yeah,
I would say, maybe I'm a prune. It was hard to watch at points. I'm like, I gotta look away. This is a lot.
We're not the target audience, Dave.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. 3 guys talking about Minx. I don't know. Yeah, we were probably not the best. But yeah, no, it was. Yeah, but that's what the show's going to be. I'm interested to see though if it's going to be every single episode of that. Like, have you seen a lot, Kyle? Is it every episode? Is it for not the shock value of it, but because obviously it has to play a part in this because that's what the magazine's about. But is it there all the time?
No, not as much. That by far is the most gratuitous of the whole episodes that I've seen. So, I mean, I think they were setting a tone there.
Yeah, they're telling the audience this is what's coming up.
Yeah.
There was a couple fun moments, I thought. I can't remember the exact line, but Bambi, who is the centerfold coordinator, I was like, somebody asked, what's the sexiest thing people find attractive? And Joyce says intelligence, and at the same time, she says motorcycles.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then, even though it was such a cliche thing, it still got me with the edit where it's she says, you think I'm going to go to the meeting like I have nothing better to do? And as she's saying to do, it's it cuts to her at the meeting. It's coming, but it still worked on me, the way they put it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah, there's a couple of good lines. I don't remember any offhand, but yeah, Jake Johnson has some good lines too. But Yeah, overall, I like it. I'm into it.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're gonna watch more, John.
Yeah, I think I'll check out a few more.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna check out a few more too. I got a bunch of other things on the docket first that I want to catch up on and rewatch and do before their premieres come out. But this is definitely in my short list of things to watch. Maybe when it all drops, I can watch it a little bit easier. But I don't know. I think we're kind of close, but I think we have enough time for maybe some quick checks. Quick check. Yeah, and for this one, we can stay right on the same app because we're going to be talking about a show that I'm sure, like Minx is definitely holds up. There's no issues with it. There's no nudity. There's no, what do you got, Kyle?
We're talking about Entourage. So I've seen bits and pieces of the series, never watched it in full. It's started in the early 2000s, like 2003, 2004. Let's just say there are some wild lines in here that do not hold up whatsoever. But I will say it is an easy watch. It is what it is. It's just looking to show you what if you had a ton of money in LA, this is what it'd be like. It's like a man's fantasy, I guess, and that there's very minimal conflict when you think about it, unless you know like the biz well, but it's just like there's not much to conflict that he's facing. So it's literally just like a man's fantasy. But yeah, there are some lines that make you go, wow, and just they make you laugh because it's like absurd that was even allowed to be said at one point.
Even allowed in 2000, let alone.
Yeah.
But no, I actually I don't even know if I've seen more than a full episode. I don't even know. Like it's one of those like blind spots for me of never really watching it. So maybe it's at some point I'll watch it, but I don't know.
It's literally like the easiest watch. You can just like flick it on, and it's cool because it is about LA and like the industry. So you kind of, see him navigating it. So that's the most interesting part, I think.
Interesting. Well, all right, that's Entourage. Let's see, John. Do you have something? I'm not sure if it's gonna end up on HBO Max. Maybe eventually.
Maybe.
But right now, it's in theaters.
Yeah, I went to go see the Batman. I'm gonna try and keep it spoiler free because I don't know if everyone's seen it, especially those at home. But maybe spoiling some conceptual things about it. My biggest takeaway by far was the music. I believe it was. I'm gonna make sure I say it right. Michael Giacchino, I think is how he says it.
Okay.
But you can look him up. Who very famous composer. He's done a lot of stuff in the past, stuff that you definitely would recognize, and even stuff that I've played in band in high school, and like he composed a lot of stuff. So, a really great soundtrack. I have a short clip here. It all focuses around this like ba 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 ba, like the whole thing, and it's just so epic. And here I'm gonna play the clip real quick. And that's it. That's the hook of the theme, and it's just it draws inspiration from so many things in my mind. The quick parallel is to the Imperial March. It's literally a note away, and I kind of feel like that really ties into the movie and how Batman's presenting himself. That he's there, and he's there to get vengeance or whatever. Maybe not justice, but he's there for vengeance. And again, a little bit of a spoiler. There's a point in the movie where, much like Darth Vader, he kind of realizes like, oh no, what have I become? And kind of has a rebirth moment. So very parallel to that. Very parallel to a lot of other famous music themes that are pretty similar. Besides that, there's a lot of ties to real life events in New York. This version of Gotham is very much influenced by New York, even though I believe it was filmed in Chicago and a couple other places. But parallels to like mob bosses living under bridges, and like there's some very interesting ties. On top of that, a beautiful movie. I hate to figure out how long it took to render this with all the black levels they had and all the rain and to get everything to look how it did with how dark it is. I mean, it's a Batman movie. It's dark. So it looked beautiful, and a large percentage of the movie was in rain, which made it so much better. There was an epic car chase, which was brilliant, and there was one more point I wanted to bring up, which if
high
it doesn't come to
marks.
me, yeah, I really
High
enjoyed it.
praise.
All
right.
Batman is more detective Batman than action Batman in this one, which I think people are more looking forward to after The Dark Knight and all that, where it's more of an action movie. This is more of a detective movie, and I believe it's based on his more early stuff, so you kind of get a sense that he's not the final Batman. He's still becoming Batman. So
Yeah, because I mean, obviously Robert Pattinson just is younger than some of the other Batmans that we had. Yeah, it's interesting because I remember hearing like points when like the trailer came out, people were kind of comparing it a little bit to Seven, and it's like the more of like the the detective dark rain
Yep.
mystery story than maybe.
Very much so. And I really enjoyed it, and that was the first movie I think I've seen since The Joker like 2 years ago. So, it kind of, not that they're in any way related, but it was interesting to see.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
Kind of, but not they're
Yeah,
not
I
in the
know what you
same
mean.
universe, we'll put it that way. They're the same, But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I would recommend it to anyone who's even partially interested in Batman or those types of movies.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to TV for a minute, and I'm gonna be talking about Atlanta season 3. So far, we have 2 episodes. They dropped on March 24th. It's been a long 4 years, but the show is finally back, and it feels like the show, just like it was. It hasn't missed a beat. And in these 2 episodes, it's very interesting. I'm gonna keep them spoiler free because that's one of the things about Atlanta. You never know what you're gonna get when you tune in, whatever it airs, Thursday night at 10. You don't know what's about to happen. Is it Teddy Perkins? Like what is the next 30 minutes gonna be? Everyone feels like an event or a short film. The first episode is actually like a standalone. It's without the cast, really. I mean, without, maybe 20 seconds of Donald at the end. It's a standalone. We get this kind of horror movie cold open about these 2 men, and then it is completely about this young boy the entire episode, which I don't think has any connection to any of our core 4. But at the same time, you're feeling this sort of tense and you're worried, and for the show to be able to do that with a character we've never met before, and to be worried about, this character and what's going on and what's going to be in the next scene. Even I think it's like it just shows how strong that like the writing is and the world that they've built, because it still feels like it belongs in the world of Atlanta, even if they are in the second episode in Amsterdam, like they're in Europe. And the second episode felt a bit more normal by, I guess television standards. It had 2 storylines, with our core 4, A story, B story. But normal is in a world where, somebody is, I'll just say, is killed with a kind of suffocating device at a living funeral. And there's another one about a holiday tradition in Amsterdam that involves quite a lot of blackface. And so that's a normal episode of Atlanta. And so there's a lot that they're commenting on, a lot that they're saying. And then at the same time, there's points where it's funny. So it's just like the tones, the genre, you never know what you're going to get. I'm a fan of the show, and excited for more. That's it.
Yeah, I gotta check those out. I haven't watched those yet.
Yeah, try to keep it as spoiler free as I could.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, you have to let me know what you think of those first 2 episodes.
For sure.
That's all we got for tonight. That's all we got. We did a lot of Oscars and movies tonight, but we're really going to be back to TV next week. 2 shows that are on our radar: Moon Knight and The Girl from Plainview. It's a Hulu like true crime real life story, and then of another Disney Plus superhero film or TV series. But this one is with Oscar Isaac, Ethan Hawke. So this will be an interesting one to see how it all comes together. April's going to be quite busy, very busy. I'll give you a little taste of the returning stuff that's coming. Better Call Saul, Russian Doll, Barry, the final episodes of Ozark. A lot happening in April. So buckle up, get ready. You can find episodes of the podcast on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, the blog, dualredundancy.com. We're live Monday nights on Twitch. I'm so used to it. Monday on Twitch, twitch.tv/dualredundancy. And you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Dual Redundancy. I got to thank both of you guys for joining me tonight. For John, doing some little extra audio video work tonight when we're talking Oscars, and for directing the show, putting it up on Apple Podcasts. I couldn't do it without you guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, I'm David Allen.
I'm John Berwick.
And I'm Kyle Bridger.
And that's all we got for Dual Redundancy. Goodbye, everybody.